Hey guys, it's Deena. I'm here as your mindset evolutionary on flynubianqueen.com, the network for melanated women just like you and me and some of the fellas too. I hope everyone is having a wonderful Sunday evening. Let's see, tonight we are going to talk about hypergamy. Ooh, this is typically a very heated topic of debate. There's a lot of discussion back and forth online amongst men, amongst women, between men and women, debating about if it is even possible for Black women to practice hypergamy strictly within the Black community, or do we have to go outside of the Black community to really practice hypergamy in its truest definition, or if hypergamy isn't even relevant or useful to women in the Black community at all if we want to keep together the Black family, meaning we want to continue to date and deal with Black men. There's a lot of theories, a lot of debate. I've watched tons of videos. I've read some stuff online, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to talk about this, but I had an interesting experience this weekend. And it kind of just, I kind of wanted to bring it here to the queens and the kings and just see what you guys think. Do Black women believe in, practice, or use hypergamy? I'd love to see you guys throw some comments in there. I see we have a nice handful of people in tonight, so I welcome you all here. If you haven't already, please hit the like, give me the thumbs up, the subscribe, the share button. I'm here every Sunday at 7 p.m. And again, we are talking about hypergamy and the Black woman, how it affects the community. Do we believe in it? Do we use it? Is anybody out there practicing it? Or do you feel like maybe hypergamy is not relevant to the Black community in terms of rebuilding the family? Do you think it could benefit us, ladies? And just to clear it up, hey, Beverly Wright, I'm so happy to see you. Hey guys, let me know you're here. Go ahead and throw some comments in. Hello, Cindy, Saxon, Clovis. Hi, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad you guys are joining in for this because I wanted to bring this to the Fly Nubian Queen community because I know we have a lot of conscious Black women here. And I wanted to hear from you ladies and see what you think about this subject matter. So just, you know me, you know Deena, I like to make sure we all get on the same page in terms of our understanding of definitions, what terminologies mean, just to make sure we are, understanding each other and communicating clearly. Will Edgy, oh yes, ha 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 ha. Okay, all right, you ready, Will? You might represent for the guys in here. So what we want to do, we want to keep this peaceful. We want to keep this at a level of, kind of hearing what each other say. We want to stay unemotional, as I have talked to you ladies about before. What we're going to do is we're going to try to create some psychological space around this topic because, of course, dating, and when we're talking about hypergamy, which is a term, according to Wikipedia, hypergamy is a term used in social science for the act or practice of a person marrying a spouse of higher caste or social status than themselves. The antonym hypogamy versus hyper, so we're talking about hypogamy, that's the antonym or the opposite, refers to marrying a person of lower social class or status. Now, colloquially, hypergamy is referred to as marrying up. So let's just think of some famous examples of hypergamy. We could say that Ciara maybe instituted some hypergamy when she went from Future, who is a very, successful rapper. I don't really know what his net worth is. Maybe somebody can look that up really quick and see what Future versus Russell Wilson's net worth is. But it seems that she practiced hypergamy, so to speak, when she leveled herself up and said, I can do better than this. What do I need to shift? What do I need to change? And then she was able to prepare herself and get ready for attracting in Russell Wilson, who, at least on the outside, because we do not know what's going on in their household on a daily basis, but from the outside looking in, seems to be a much better fit. He was marriage minded, he's family oriented, he's stably employed. He seemed to, want to have a life that included having a wife and children, and he wants to be a part of his family's life on an everyday basis. He decided to get married to Sierra and take on the responsibility of raising another man's child, baby Future. And when she was previously dating Little Bow Wow, who, don't really have that much money. He had a moment, but not a lot of money. Future, okay, he's a big time hip hop star. However, Future has a lot of baby mamas, so, all the bucks that he's making, all the stacks and racks are split and divided amongst a brood. So that wasn't the smartest move on Sierra's part, and she was about to get married to him, and then, thank the Lord, fate stepped in, boom, it didn't happen, and then she leveled up. So that would be an example of hypergamy. Another example would be a Meghan Markle situation where she's an actress. She was, I think, married previously to a chef or something like that. Anywhere around, he wasn't a prince. He wasn't royalty. So Meghan Markle practiced hypergamy, theoretically, by marrying into a much higher, like she took a leap coming from a single family home over here in Southern California, Los Angeles, little biracial girl from the hood, so to speak. I think she grew up in Compton or Crenshaw or something like that. And she, boom, jumped all the way up to royalty. Now she's the Duchess of Essex or Sussex or whatever, right? So I guess I should have wrote all these details down, but I wanted to be a little spontaneous with you guys and just talk about it. So Miss Samara Love, hopefully you have the definition of what this means. What does it mean? Hypergamy. It means to practice or the act of a person marrying a spouse of a higher caste or social status than themselves, marrying up, typically marrying for money or something of that nature, right? Marrying someone who is more successful than you, but not just a little bit like, oh, he makes 10 or 20,000 more than me. It's like, no, he makes a lot more than me. He's in a much higher tax bracket. So what do you guys think? I want to throw this out to you. Can practicing hypergamy potentially benefit the Black community? Should Black women get on code and start vetting men before sex and dating? These two things kind of go hand in hand, because if you are a hypergamous woman and you are practicing hypergamy in the sense that you want to marry a man that is making more money than you, in a higher social class than you, more established than you, owns more than you, can elevate you and your future children or the children that you already have. If you are practicing or even thinking about practicing hypergamy, first of all, do you think it could benefit our community as a whole if we as women, as Black women in the community, kind of got on code and started to institute some rules and some game around hypergamy, dating up, seeking out the men in our community who are getting it in terms of their career and success, who are high achievers, who are providers and protectors in the more traditional sense. If we as a group of women got on code and started to focus in on dating at the higher level, and that would require us to start vetting our men before we started to date, and definitely before we engaged in sex. We would need to know what his background was, how many kids he has, does he want to get married, is he planning on having a family, what is his vision for the future, where does he want to live, Yes, you can definitely find these things out casually over a drink, lunch, or dinner. However, do you think it would even be more beneficial and more of a time saver if you kind of found these things out within the first few minutes of talking? And I've got a good example for you guys about how that happened. Something like that happened to me this weekend. And anyway, let's get into it. So what do you guys say? Do Black women believe, thank you, Will Ajee. Yes, it is the Duchess of Sussex. Do you believe that, do Black women believe in hypergamy? Do we practice hypergamy? Come on, don't be shy. See, we have a really nice, we have a nice amount of people in here right now. I usually have a little bit less than this. So are you guys just here to kind of like have me spill the beans all over the place, and you guys are afraid to say whether or not you date with purpose and date so that you can find a man that's going to be a good provider and protector, date in a higher social class? Or do you feel like maybe some men have practiced hypergamy on you? Because it's not just exclusive to women. There are definitely men who like to date up. How about Casper, who was dating J-Lo, and he was a backup dancer. Britney Spears with the Kevin Federline. We had Mary J. Blige, and her husband wasn't much of nothing when they got married. He became her manager. And he walked away with some alimony, if I'm not mistaken, and maybe a quarter or a third of her fortune went to him. Sherry Shepherd had that situation happen to her. And there's been countless others. I think Wendy Williams might even be a situation of that too, where her husband may have been thinking hypergamously and kind of seeing the future of where Wendy's career was going. And instead of forging his own path, he jumped on her moving train. And yeah, now we see years later that that didn't quite work out so well. But they hung in there for years. So, you know, who knows if it was a time thing where, you know, maybe they had some kind of unspoken agreement. There's been many rumors about that. However, just looking at it from the surface, some may say that those men were hypergamous because they chose women who were high earners, women who had careers already, the foundation was laid, it was clear where they were going to go in their career, or their career was already well established by the time the man showed up, and he just jumped aboard that moving train and did exactly what some of these women do, and it got to a certain point and boom, divorce and split the bucks. So what say ye? DJ says, what's your opinion on this? I want to know your position. Absolutely, we're going to get into that, but this is a discussion. So I want to get, as usual, get a little feedback. Shonda Henderson, in order to marry up, thank you for joining Shonda Henderson. She was the first person to put a comment on the post I made about 15 minutes before. So I really appreciate you popping in, dear. And thank you for your comment. Shonda Henderson says, in order to marry up, we must study the cultures to fit in. How would you fit into his groups? That's a good point, Shonda. DJ, yes, I want to hear your perspective. We're going to get into it, baby. Lenore Taylor, why would I marry a broke man? You tell me, girl, because that's what I'm wanting to know. Samara Love, I do, but not for far as money, more so with mindset. Okay, Samara, I would love to hear a little bit more about your theory on that, your practice. What do you mean? You're not talking about money. You're talking about mindset. Okay, mindset. Okay, let's get into that. Tell me. Shonda Henderson says, is it or should it be intentional? I don't see the benefit in that. The best move for the culture is that like minds meet. Why, Shonda? Why is that the best move for the culture? Now, we have heard many discuss that the Black men, the Black community in general, but in particular, Black men are having a pretty tough time out here. In general, not as a whole. There are definitely some Black men out here who are getting it. Their businesses, they own homes, they are high earners in their jobs if they're not working for themselves or being entrepreneurs in some way. There's some guys out here who are getting it. Now, I'm from the DC area, and I saw plenty of brothers getting it out there. Like, I come from a place where you see Black men making millions of dollars as government contractors, or either they're in the $250,000, $300,000 range. Some of them may be lobbyists making $500,000. Definitely a lot of homeowners out there. A lot of Black guys in politics. There's a lot going on in DC where, you can get some guys who are definitely making over six figures. That's for sure. So I have seen that, and it's not like there's this huge difference, or at least from me growing up in DC, I didn't see like a huge difference, because my dad did not make, I think at the time, he did not make six figures. So my dad passed away a little over 10 years ago. And so I think when he passed away, he might have been making around 80 or 90K. I'm not 100% sure. But as you know, hold on, guys, my computer's about to die. Give me 1 second. So sorry about that. But as you guys know, money went a little further when we were younger. So definitely like years ago, actually, yeah, I don't even know how much my dad made, to be honest with you, but I know he wasn't a super high earner, but he definitely made enough to take care of me, my brother, and my mom. She did not work while she was raising us, and they were still together. And we didn't want for anything. So, I would say my mom practiced hypergamy, quiet as kept, because she grew up in, I would say, a very working class home. My grandfather was a vet. He was a World War II vet. Him and my grandma were married. They had 3 kids. They ended up splitting up. My grandma got remarried, and she married a taxi cab driver. And I think my grandma was a secretary or something like that, if I can remember correctly. And she was a homeowner. I mean, they went on, they retired, back then you could retire, you had a pension, they traveled, you know what I'm saying? So they lived pretty good. But I think my grandmother's money probably was longer than my step-granddad's money. And my mom, she was dating my dad, who was studying to be a dentist. And as you know, dentists make very, very good money. And then that broke up after they had me. And she dated and married my father that raised me, who worked in the government, had a very good job in the government, very stable, good benefits, made great money working there. And that was it. So my mom definitely was not dating any bums, if you know what I mean. Now, as far as my birth father, there were some issues there with him as far as being mentally off and some stuff like that. He was not a good person, from my understanding from her. So yes, you want to match up with mindset, but I think my mom also had the plan that, hey, I'm not going to be living, being with a dude and be struggle mode. I'm not doing struggle love. And so I kind of feel the same way. I feel that I married a guy who did not have a lot of money. But one of the things I made clear to him before we got married is you don't have to get out there and work, because love ain't free. Love don't pay no bills, and pussy ain't free. Did I just say that? Yeah, that's the truth, okay? It ain't free. You got to maintain it, right? So if you want it to be available, and you want it to be juicy, and you want it to be, open and ready for you, then you got to make it comfortable, right? I know I got a little crass there. I do that every once in a while. I'm a real person. So I definitely had that conversation with my ex-husband. And as a result, he got up, got out, and started getting some money. And at a certain point, he told me that I did not have to work. And he knew that I was quite burnt out here in LA, going around doing these little part-time jobs in between acting and auditions. And he knew that, and he saw that. And he came to me and he said, look, I got this. How much do we need to live per month? I'm going to make that my goal. Because at the time he was a salesman, so he had no limit on what he could earn. He was in sales. So he started, he and I talked about it. He set some goals on what he needed to earn every month, and he hit and exceed them. He was winning awards in his office, getting bonuses, getting tickets to ball games that we enjoyed. And so it definitely, the motivation for him to achieve came from me. Now, would I do that again? No. I would not want to do that again where I marry someone who is not already established, because let me tell you, it was a tug of war. It was a tug of war. It was annoying. And he did pay off, some expenses and things that I had while we were married. But it's not fun coming to the table and having to tell your man. It's not fun it wasn't fun for him. It wasn't fun for me to put down my foot and say, look, if you want this to keep being peaceful, then you need to get out here and make sure that everything is taken care of. Looking back, I wouldn't do that again. And I actually think it would have been better if someone would have told me. Now, my mom had her plan, but she did not share it with me. So I think it would be better in the long run if we did take some of the steps that hypergamous women, some of the examples that hypergamous women kind of demonstrate, and apply it to our women, us as women in the community, so that we can raise the bar, raise our standards, and increase our value in our community. If we let men know, if we can take from my example, if we're letting guys know, if we're talking to each other and we're saying, look, we're not having sex with these guys. We're not going out on dates with these guys. No sob stories allowed. I don't care. You can't get a job because you're a felon, blah, 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 whatever. If we let them know that no excuses are accepted, you would be surprised how dudes would start to step up. And those who didn't would just step to the side. I think it could potentially help the community, because what it would do would cause us to think twice about who we decide to be with. And some of us would make better decisions about the outcome of our liaisons, right? Because if you're thinking, I want to marry at the best level, the most successful level that I can marry into, you may have your own goals and aspirations for what type of career you want to have, right? But isn't it a lot easier if he's up here? Say you want to get here and he's up here. That's going to be a little bit easier for you, especially if you're thinking about having kids, because then you have that opportunity to say, okay, I can take 6 months off, or I can quit my job and I can be off for like a year, 2 years, focus on the kids, get myself back together, not have postpartum, trying to balance all these different things. Or if you do have postpartum, take some time off, go get the help that you need, and your husband can hold it down. However, if you don't think ahead to some of these things, right, you could be doing all that and still having to hold down your household. That's a lot. That is a lot. So I think it could potentially benefit our community, because it would cause us to raise our standards for what we accept. It would cause us to raise our standards for the type of guys that we date. And it would cause us to kind of hold out a little bit longer, so that we're not just, sleeping with guys that we think are cute or funny or have swag, but we're really thinking long term, right? We're thinking down the line. If this guy becomes, by some act of God, okay, yeah, you might be on birth control, yeah, you might be wearing a condom, but by some act of God, and believe me, I've heard plenty of stories where, he had on a condom, girl, I was on birth control. Are they telling the truth or not? Who knows? But I've heard plenty of stories where they said, you know, people have said that, hey, this is a oops baby, and we were not expecting it, and here we are. Now, was it worth it? Only, you know, those two individuals know. I mean, absolutely, a child is beautiful and a blessing, but, you know, in your quiet moments, do you look back and say, I wish it wasn't him, or I wish it wasn't her, you know, I wish I could have waited. I think it could be better in making choices and decisions so that we don't have so many broken relationships. Now, hypergamy, of course, is not a cure-all. It doesn't stop people from getting divorced. It doesn't stop a person from being a bad person. It doesn't stop, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't stop all those different things that could potentially pop up in a relationship. However, I do believe, as we have heard from many of our leaders, I think Farrakhan might be one of them, who said that a society can only rise as high as its woman. So if we as women are having low standards in our dating pool, like what we're willing to accept or go out with, if we're willing to accept that, oh, this guy is a felon, are we willing to accept that this guy sells drugs or is doing criminal activity? Now, you have a good job, right? It may not be, you know, a Fortune 500 corporate CEO position, but you have a really good job. Maybe you're making $80,000 or something a year. Maybe you're making $120 a year. Maybe you're a go-getter. Maybe you're out here hustling. Why would you date a guy who is selling drugs or doing criminal activities? Why would you do that? Why would you have sex with that type of guy? Because he's hot? I mean, how does that benefit you in the long run? You know what I'm saying? Why would we give guys a pass? This is hard to say because I know this is going to be controversial, but I want to put it out there for us to discuss. Do we think our men in our community benefit from us giving guys who have a lot of F-ups in their past a pass just because the system, white supremacy, and all these different things, yes, they do exist. However, how does that benefit our community if we allow men to have those excuses and we're still supposed to love and accept them? Do we as women, do we as fly Nubian queens think that benefits our community, accepting men as mates and partners who are coming to us with a bag of excuses and a checkered past? Does that help our community? Could a little hypergamy potentially help us to raise our standards and therefore the men would have to reach those standards? I understand, yes, mass incarceration is a thing. I understand that not being able to get jobs, not being able to get promotions, not making the same amount as guys in other races, all these different things are a factor. However, if we as women are not a motivator in terms of letting guys know that, hey, you can't come over here. You can't live with me. You can't do these things. You have to figure out how to go and get it. You got to go out there and be a man and provide. Figure it out. Go start a business. Don't do crime. Don't do criminal activities. Figure out. We have to be the motivation to let them know, no, I'm not going to hold your hand. No, I'm not going to fund your business. No, I'm not going to do those things. As a man, figure out how to do it. And then when you get it done and you get it together, come back to me. Then I will know for sure that you have what it takes in you for the long haul. Does that make sense? Enough of my ranting. just a theory that I have. I'm going to get into your comments but before I do that, I want to say thank you so much for joining me, Deena Jacobs Live, your mindset evolutionary, here at flynubianqueen.com, the network for melanated women just like you and me, and some men. Thank you guys for joining me, Deena Jacobs, here every Sunday night, Pacific time at 7 p.m. and 10 p.m. East Coast time. Yay, I'm so glad you guys are here. Now, this is just me kind of rambling, thinking about some things. Some stuff happened to me this weekend. I'm going to tell you a little bit about that incident in a minute. But let me get into your comments because I love to hear from you. So the last comment I see from Lenora is, why would I marry a broke man? And I hope you did add to that comment. And Samara Love says, I do, but not as far as money, more with mindset. So I'm going to scroll down and see if those two ladies added more to it. Shonda Henderson says, is it or should it be intentional? I don't see the benefit in that. The best move for the culture is, oh, yes. Also, Shonda, I hope you put some more details into that comment as well. The best move for the culture is that like minds meet. I'd love to hear more from you about what you mean by that. Will G says, wow, ha, ha, ha. DJ says, I agree, absolutely. That's what I was waiting to hear. Exactly. What did you agree with, DJ? Beverly Wright, I think it's good. That's a way that most generational wealth is kept in families. Beverly Wright articulated it even better than me. Thank you, Beverly. Beverly is also one of our top fans. She said that she thinks it's good that a way that most generational wealth is kept in families. Yes, this is what we're talking about. Thinking about the bigger picture of what we as women can contribute to our community without getting out here on the front lines and fighting. Because it's really not our place, in my humble opinions, to be the ones to take up arms and start fighting the system. Yes, we will contribute to the fight. However, I think that as women, we can strategize in different ways on how we can motivate our men to be warriors, not necessarily out here in hand-to-hand combat, but financial warriors, entrepreneurial warriors, you know, holding up the family, being there for the family, taking responsibility, withholding what we have, our affection, our bodies, you know, sexual access, having standards, raising the bar, valuing ourselves as women, and don't come over here with a whole bunch of excuses. I don't, you know, like, okay, so you got locked up. Okay, you were innocent. Okay, fine. I understand, right? That's messed up that happened to you, Tyrone, or Dante, or D'Angelo, or Mike. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm here for you. My heart is here for you. However, I understand your situation, but now you're going to have to figure some things out as a man. And let me tell you something. I learned this from my marriage. A man does not really want his woman out here doing everything for him. It doesn't instill masculine, you know, feelings of masculinity, feelings of confidence in the man. You might think it does, but it doesn't. Like, I saw that with my husband. That's why we constantly fought, even though I was telling him and pushing him and urging him, and baby, you know, let me help you with this. I mean, I thought I was being that ride or die chick. Let me tell you something, never again. It was just too much work, and it kills the buzz of romance. I'm gonna tell you that right now. It kills the buzz of romance. It's difficult to respect your man when he's constantly failing. It's difficult to, you know, respect your man when you have to be the one that's stretching your brain to come up with every solution. So, of course, things started to calm down once he began to earn at a high level and take care of responsibilities. When he was able to come to me and say, look, you're good. You don't have to work unless you want to. You can just go to your auditions. You can do your creative, you know, stuff and come up with show ideas and things like that. I got this. When he was able to take care of some major debt that I had hanging over. And he came home one day, he was like, okay, babe, We about to take care of this debt. I just got a big check. I got a bonus. Boom. Then the respect went through the roof from me. Then it was like, okay, all right, juices are flowing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm feeling great. I'm amazed. I'm relaxed. And so I was happy every time he came home. You know, I was excited. I was much more relaxed and calm, a lot less arguing once he took the reins. You see what I'm saying? Because it's like things were out of whack. Most couples divorce because of lack of money, says Lenora. That's one of the reasons, yeah. A lot of people do get divorced because of that. Will Ajit says incentive. Ha, 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 ha. Exactly. Women, Black ladies, women in the community, we have to realize and get back in touch with the power of the P. We have to get back in touch with the power of the P. What do we have that men want? We know what it is. We can practice hypergamy by withholding for the right type of individual, right? For the right type of individual. And it can't just be mental. Yes, you absolutely want to have some kind of vision and mental connection with a person, with a man. You want to have some level of attraction, but be warned, attraction wears off. And I think most of us know that, especially when he can't take care of nothing or do nothing for you in a time of need. That's when everything dries up. That's when everything dries up. And if it's not drying up at that particular point in time, you need to do a self-check. Because if you are able to be with a man comfortably who cannot help you in a time of need, and I think that women should vet. You should vet. Because these are things you need to know before you start in with a physical relationship with a man. Because this is going to tell you if that man can come through if you happen to get pregnant. If you happen to get pregnant or some slip up or something happens, can he come through? Will he be there for you? Should we vet men, right? Yes. Within that first conversation when he comes up to you and he's like, hey, how you doing? You know what I'm saying? Find out what his situation is as much as you can right then and there. Read the room. Look at what's going on and how he's dressed. Okay? Find out. Listen, hey, how are you? Okay, cool. Well, tell me about yourself. And if he gets turned off by that, he's a bum. Because no man should be turned off by a woman vetting him. You know why? Because that shows that she has standards. I want to tell you guys an example that I had this weekend. I went to a coffee shop in Bel Air and sat and had lunch. And I saw when I got there, there was like Bentleys and Rolls Royces and, you know, Maseratis and Aston Martins. I mean, it was like a car show over there. It was this little shopping mall. They had a Starbucks and a couple of little, you know, eateries and some, you know, those little boutiques and stuff. So, you know, it was one of those strip malls, right? And I was on my way across town. This was on the way. And I was like, I'm going to stop. I'm going to get a little something to eat before I head over to Culver City. I'm sitting there. I'm looking at all this. I'm seeing all these old guys sitting there. And I'm just like, wow, like this is the spot. Who knew, you know? And I saw one guy. He looked at me. I looked at him. Old guy came in, talked to me. Immediately, he was like, hi, I see you're having lunch. You enjoying it? And I said, yeah, you know, I'm enjoying it. And he was like, yeah, well, my name is Martin, and I live across the street. And, you know, location is everything. Can you believe it? I got that place about 20 years ago, and it was this much. And now it's worth, you know, $2.5 million. Who knew? Ha, ha, ha. Can you imagine? Wow. Like, you know, I'm kind of like just ad-libbing a little bit, right? But basically, this man walked up to me and started telling me about some of his assets that he owned, right? Immediately. Started presenting, hey, I have a home. I live in Bel Air. I live across the street. Location is everything. I have, you know, a home that's worth millions of dollars right now. Boom, boom, boom. Like immediately started listing out the different things that he had to offer, right? Now the guy looked like he's about 65, 70 years old, right? For me, that's not the biggest deal. But what was amazing to me is that, you know, one of his buddies came in, kind of grabbed him and said, hey, he's going to be right back. We got to, you know, take care of something really quickly. And he was like, I'll be back. If you're still here, you know, I'd love to talk to you, blah, blah, blah. So him and his friend left out, right? And I was just like, wow, that was really interesting. Totally different game, right? Okay, about 2 minutes later, this other guy comes walking up, younger guy, you know, dressed in a little hip hop kind of gear, you know. He comes up and he starts talking to me. And, you know, I'm kind of like, oh, okay, so nice to meet you, you know. He's like, oh, I saw you sitting here. You look so pretty. He started immediately talking about my body, right? I see you got those mom jeans on. You trying to hide everything, but, you know, I can still see, ha, 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 whatever. And I'm like, all right, okay, so do you live around here? Oh, no, I was just passing through. I was like, okay, so he doesn't live in that neighborhood. Then I was like, okay, so what are you doing? What do you do? It's the middle of the day, I'm telling you, like it's the middle of the day. Well, so what do you do? Oh, I do everything. Everything? What do you mean you do everything? Yeah, I do music, I do movies, I do a little bit of everything. Okay, first of all, you know, I'm vetting him, right? And as I'm vetting him, I'm hearing that he's broke. Because nobody could possibly be doing everything and making money. Because you're just too divided, you're all over the place, you're not focused, right? So as, you know, I was kind of asking him different questions, he started getting offended, like, oh, why are you interviewing me? Don't you think that's a lot? And I was like, well, no, a woman should vet a man, right? And then it kind of clicked, you know, as I'm talking to him, I see the other guy walking towards where I'm sitting, and he can see me and I can see him. And then this guy standing there talking to me. And then I see him kind of like, you know, kind of make a quick decision and just kind of, you know, keep going. And I was like, no, the guy with the home in Bel Air, he's walking away. And I got this bum who does everything standing here talking to me and upset because I'm vetting him. Do you guys see the point in the story that I'm telling you? Men who are successful do not have a problem with letting a woman know, hey, I have achieved these things. I am a man who can provide. What I have found typically, and this, you know, I've dated men that had money, and I've dated men who didn't have money. I've dated men who were wealthy, and I've dated men who were average, and I've dated men who were in school or on the corner, on the block, you know. Like I said, I come from DC, so you get a very wide range of different types of men out in that city. And so I was just like, looking back, and also that example was so clear, it reminded me that the men that you have dated who are high achieving never had a problem disclosing, and a lot of times will come up to you and kind of let you know, like, hey, I find you attractive, and this is what I have to offer in addition to me. Why don't you go out with me and see if you like me? Because if you do, then this is part of the package. We're gonna have a great life together, or we're gonna enjoy whatever we're dating, or you know, whatever you guys decide to make it. But they're letting you know that I have these things in addition to me. Whereas a guy who doesn't really have anything going on, he's talking about, I'm bringing me, but then what is he bringing? He's bringing his issues and his problems without any of the other accoutrements, any of the other benefits, any of the icing that would normally go on a cake. He's bringing you some dry cake with no milk or some stale milk versus the guy that is bringing you the cake with the buttercream icing and some cherries and some decorations on top, in addition to some ice cream of your choice that you can scoop out and put on top. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's bringing you so much more, and this guy is bringing you nothing at all, or bringing you things that are just going to drag you down and make you sick. And so what I have noticed is if guys don't like the fact that you're vetting and you're asking, you know, or you're trying to, you know, you can gently hint. But at this point in my life, I just kind of, you know, ask questions and get to the point because I don't have time to waste. And what I found is that brothers who don't like it, or guys in general who don't like it, because it's not always brothers, they're usually the ones who are broke and have nothing to offer. Or talking about, I have my heart, I can love you, girl. Love don't pay bills, as I told my first husband. And so getting back to what Beverly Wright said, if you're thinking about having kids with someone, or say, for example, you didn't think hypergamously in the first go round and you have a child or two, maybe you want to do like Sierra and kind of say, wait a minute now, maybe as a community, it's not too late for us as women, regardless of your age, to raise your standards, to raise the bar, to value yourself more, to say that you are worth it. Now, of course, that does require some work on your end as far as increasing your internal value, getting yourself together health-wise, physically, mentally, spiritually, because you can't be all the way messed up in these areas and talking about I'm practicing hypergamy. He gotta be whatever. You can't do that, right? Well, you can try, but it probably won't work out as well for you. But this is something I want us to think about, and I want us to talk about more. I'm looking to bring on a young lady that I know who is a dating coach and a dating expert, and she is so much better at talking about these things than me. And she has strategy, and she has ideas, and she has married up successfully and is living a very beautiful life. She's Black. She married a Black man. And she's going to come on and she's going to talk about her lifestyle. She's going to talk about her mindset, and she's going to talk about how it can benefit the community, how it does benefit the community, how couples, Black couples, can get together and do things and do business and grow, like how it has given her even the opportunity to start her own businesses by being with someone who could provide and support her, not only mentally, spiritually, and through his heart, but also by what he has to offer financially. And that's what creates the beauty of their life together. It's like a total package. Maybe we should institute that as a code of conduct and raise our standards collectively and teach this to the young women, especially the young girls of Generation Z, and let them know that they should start vetting men now. They should not wait until they're 30 or 35. They should not wait until they're 40. We should teach them how to vet men properly in their late teens. These are just my thoughts. So let's get back to what you guys have to say. Okay, so Samara Love said, I need someone to elevate my mind and subsequently money will come. Now, you know what? I don't know about that. Now, Samara, I do not want to speak against what you have as your hopes and your dreams, but you are the one who can elevate your mind. You, my darling, can elevate your mind. Elevate your mind. Elevate your soul. Elevate your self-worth and your value. And yes, the money will come. It will come in the form of a man who is going to value you and place you up on that pedestal that you deserve to be on, who is going to make sure that you are comfortable, who is going to make sure that your children, you and the children that he have together, and if you already have kids, he will be a loving man. He will be okay with providing for kids that are not his own because he has more than enough to give and more than enough to provide. So I would say just be careful in looking for someone outside of yourself to elevate your mind. Just be careful with that. I'm not telling you what to do. Just take these things into consideration. And so I did put a link up there for you ladies, and I think we might have to do a part 2 on this because my ranting and raving, we didn't even get into what is vetting. Vetting is the process of performing a background check on someone before offering them employment, conferring an award, or doing fact-checking prior to making any decision. In addition, intelligence gathering, assets are vetted to determine their usefulness. In addition, in intelligence gathering, so in addition to gathering information, assets are vetted. Assets, and we know assets are things of value that increase value, right? Grow value, or retain value in some kind of way. Assets are vetted to determine their usefulness. So what usefulness does a man have if he's bringing you a criminal record? Very little, because he's not really employable beyond minimum wage in most cases. Now, if he is very resourceful, and there are some men like this, I met a few, who are previous, they had felonies or whatever, they're resourceful, they get their stuff together, and they figure out which career fields they can go into that don't do background checks, where they can make money, or they figure out how to start their own business and start hustling that way legally. There are Black men out here that have done that. But allow him the opportunity to prove that to you. Don't just accept him and be like, baby, I got this. And you out here working, breaking your back, and you never know if this dude is going to get it together or not. Allow him as a man to prove himself. It's going to do a lot for him too, to know that the woman he loves, that he wants to be with, is not going to allow him in her space until he gets it together. That does a lot for a man. Now, if he's angry and mad and resents you, then let's think about that, ladies. Is he the one for you? If he resents you because you're saying, baby, I love you, but I need you to go get it together, and then come back to me in a year, and we're going to see where you are. We're going to see what's up. If he thinks that is too much, then he ain't the one anyway. Because he should appreciate the fact that you have standards. No man should be asking you to lower your standards. A man who is asking you directly or indirectly to lower your standards doesn't think you're worth anything. He doesn't think you're worth it. And that is something that as a Black woman in our community, we have to know that we are worth it. We are worth it. We deserve the best. We are some of the most beautiful, brilliantly beautiful, gifted beings that there are on this earth. And we deserve the best that life has to offer. It's time we own it. And we start to vet our men, and we start to raise our standards. They will step up. I have all the confidence in the world that they will step up if we decide that that's what we want. We are the motivators. We know that. We know that who runs the world? Girls. We run this world, right? James Brown had the song, it's a man's world, but it'd be nothing without a woman. All of that is absolutely true. Let me get back into your comments. And again, thank you guys. Hit the thumbs up, the like, the share, subscribe, flynubianqueen.com network. Please go to Shop FNQ and check out some of our merchandise. We would love if you could support us that way. Let me get to the comments. Shonda Henderson, when you said I want to marry at the best level available, this is a powerful statement. A target. Hold on. So many comments are coming and I just lost hers. Hold on. Let me see if I can get back. Oh, man. I'm so sorry, Shonda. It totally disappeared. I apologize. Okay. DJ, okay, because he has a big cucumber, says to Yanni Chioki. Okay, I think I missed the whole part of the conversation. You guys are in here getting it in. I'm so glad. There's 95 comments. Thank you for all your comments. Let's see. Replying to Yanni, DJ says, yeah, but that's the wrong idea. Samara says, no, we can't give them a pass unless they can prove they have changed. Absolutely. I'm glad we found agreement on that. DJ says, I totally agree with you. However, there is the other part to what you're saying. If you're going to have all these expectations out of a man, you better for damn sure be meeting them expectations yourself. Because how can you require a man something that you don't even have yourself? I'm just generally speaking, I agree. Okay, DJ, thank you for bringing that point up. So what a man has to offer and what a woman has to offer is different. Okay. I know people don't want to believe this. I know we have a gender neutral world that we're living in now. Men and women are supposed to do the same things. I don't subscribe to that personally. Okay. I'm entitled to my own personal beliefs about that, just as members of that community are entitled to their own personal beliefs about their own situations. I respect what they have to say over there in their situation. I also would like to be respected in what I have to say over here in my situation. Men and women in my world are not doing the same things. We're not bringing the same things to the table. Okay? I'm a woman. Now, I'm a woman of a certain age, but especially for the young ladies out here, listen up. You're bringing your youth and your reproductive abilities in addition to your beauty, your intellect, all those other wonderful things, but earning an achievement in that way that a man earns and achieves is, do not allow any man to tell you that you need to be bringing 50-50 to the table. No. The man needs to be at the head of the table on some level. That's why we're talking about hypergamy from what I have seen. Now, I'm not an authority, just some discussion, just some opinions, right? So when DJ is saying that the woman needs to be bringing the same thing to the table, DJ, I would ask you, do you want your woman really out here earning the same amount of money that you do? Do you want her working the same hours that you do? Do you want her coming home stressed out and overworked and not interested in sex and just, tired and cranky, just like you are when you come home from that high earning position? Is that what you want? Or would you like your woman to have a little bit less stressful situation going on in her life so that she can be relaxed and a little more open to you when you come home from your long stressful day from making all that money you're earning? And then you guys can go out and enjoy it, or she can take some of that money and spend it to create a wonderful home for you to return to. Just a question. Don't be fooled by the feminist rhetoric. I think it's hit our community particularly hard because of the situation that our men have been faced with over the past 10, 20, 30 years. Lenora, DJ, you were right. You are right. Okay, Lenora, something. You guys are having a great conversation. This is good. I'm glad. This is exactly what I wanted. I want us to talk about these things. What I'm saying is not necessarily I am right, but I want us to think about these things. You ladies know I love to bring ideas. I bring my opinion. I try to bring some links. When you get a moment, definitely check out this link that I put up here. It's called Red Pill Wives, and it's a comprehensive guide to vetting men. And let me read through this since we are a little bit past 8 o'clock. I'm going to maybe spend 10 more minutes here and get through some of your comments. But let me touch on this. Why is vetting important? According to the Reddit, this is on reddit.com, Red Pill Wives. So why is vetting important? It's your first line of defense against ending up plated, strung along, alpha widowed, or tied to a man you really can't stand. Properly vetting reduces your chances of needlessly increasing your in count with men that have zero intention of building a future with you. It is in every single woman's best interest to fully vet each man she dates before agreeing to be in an exclusive relationship with him. And let me just give you ladies, especially the ladies of Generation Z and some of the younger millennials who are just, don't have as much experience. If a man has a problem with you vetting him, that is a huge red flag right there. Move on quickly as you possibly can. Move on. Move on. If he is arguing with you about going 50-50, move on. This man is not motivated for whatever reason. It may have nothing to do with you. He's not motivated to be a high achiever. So you're actually doing him a favor, believe it or not, by allowing him to know that women of your caliber and quality are not going to be accepting of his shenanigans or his mediocrity. And this is what I think we can do right now to push our men forward. Yes, we have systems in place. However, we have to kind of motivate our men to figure out ways around it. Figure out strategies to win the war. And those who want to run off with women of other races, so what? Okay? They're not the only people who have options out here, and don't even allow them to think that that's the case. So ladies, we can get on code around this. Okay, so also these ladies say, am I shallow or entitled if I vet a man before commitment? Okay, that's a question, right? Guys want to call you shallow. They want to call you entitled, or who do you think you are, or what are you bringing to the table? You're bringing you as a woman. You're bringing everything, your nurturing, your reproductive ability. You're like a woman adds to a man just by her very presence, especially if she's got it together. You know what I'm saying? If you're taking good care of yourself, you're healthy, you checked your mental and your spiritual. Maybe you're on your Erykah Badu. Maybe you're on your, some of these other pretty girls that are out here, that are looking good. I can't think of all the celebrities right now. But, maybe you've got it together in whatever way it is. It could be the prissy, it could be the, the earthy, but you got it together, right? You're bringing that essence, that feminine essence that a man needs. You're bringing that yin and that yang, that balance to his world. That's what you're bringing. But you don't have to tell him that. You just know this for yourself. And he knows it too. So when he coming over talking about something, what you bringing? It's going to be 50-50. He's not valuing himself, and he's definitely not valuing you. Because if he was valuing himself, he would come to you just like that man came up to me and say, hey, you know what? I've done these things. This is what I do for a living. I flip houses. Like most of the time when I have met guys who are successful, they always tell me what they do, like almost right away. Almost right away. I was at the post office the other day. This guy came up to me. He's like, oh, you have a beautiful smile. We got to chit-chatting or whatever. And then he was like, yeah, I'm in real estate. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, what are you doing in real estate? He's like, we flip houses, properties. We're working on a couple places right now. They're like so happy to tell you what they do because they're proud of their achievements. Does that make sense? A man who is proud of his achievements is going to share that with you. And even the fact that he's sharing that with you allows you to know that he wants to share that with you, possibly. You get what I'm saying? A man who's withholding and like, why are you asking me all these questions? Either he doesn't have anything to share, or he has poverty mind, he's stingy, and he doesn't want you all up in his business because he's got stuff to hide. You feel what I'm saying? Otherwise, why does he care? If you're asking him questions, that simply means you have standards. You don't give your number out to every man who asks. You don't give conversation to every man who comes your way. That should make him proud and excited to know that many are called, but chosen are few when it comes to your love life. You understand what I'm saying? So let's see what else they're saying. Does taking the time to vet a man mean that you don't like him very much? Absolutely not, says the Red Pill Wives. In fact, putting in the effort to be more selective with who you commit to demonstrates how seriously you take relationships and how much you value yourself and the man that you ultimately end up with, because you want to make sure it's going to be a good match, not only for yourself, but for him too. Who wants to be with someone who's miserable? No one. If you sleep with every man who catches your eye, each encounter is worth less. They didn't put the word together, they separated. Worth less, meaning each time you sleep with a guy, it's worth less. You're worth less. The situation is worth less. And a man knows your commitment, and sex means something if you don't give it away easily. These ladies are on to something. You guys definitely should check out that link when you get a moment, because they're on to something. So just quickly, I want to run down some of the things that it says. If you are single and in the early stages of dating, grab a notebook and a pen and follow these steps below. So I'm just going to read really quickly. Age is a factor. These are the factors, right, that you should be using to vet men. Age. An older man is more likely to be established in his career. Mature, ready to settle down, and secure in himself. Okay? Socioeconomic status. It makes the most sense to focus on men of the same or neighboring class. He'll have similar values, expectations, and behavior. So they're saying either date, you know, someone who's at least at your level, or maybe like 1 to 2 steps above you. You may not want to make a huge leap because it may be too much of an adjustment. That kind of makes sense to me. So we're not talking about necessarily like a Meghan Markle jumping up to royalty. But, you know, I think Sierra dating Russell Wilson wasn't too much. Like, I think it was maybe like a couple of, you know, steps above what she was used to dating. So, you know, they're both celebrities. They, you know, they can kind of handle each other's lifestyles. Ethnicity and culture. That's a good thing if you can match that up, or if it's not too far apart, maybe there's similarities between your cultures, even if they're not the same. Religion, that is, you want to, you know, both of your religious backgrounds are very important, or if neither of you are religious, you definitely want to take a look at those things, ladies. Marriage, you need to find out if this guy is interested in marriage or he just wants to date you. And sometimes you can ask them outright and they will say one thing and then it'll be a totally different thing. You vet a man by listening, right? Listen to how he talks to you, about other women, about what he sees in the future. If you just listen, most of the time they're going to tell you pretty early on what they're into and what they're about and what they're looking at you for. And as soon as you hear it, don't doubt it. Move on if you need to. And if you're hearing the right things, then keep your ears and your eyes open and move forward with him. He doesn't have to say that he specifically wants to marry you. Just get a general sense of his life goals. And that's kind of, they're saying the same thing I was saying. Dominance level. Attraction is non-negotiable. You cannot ignore how attracted you are to a man or how much you respect him. Respect is important to a man. If you do, then you're just firing randomly in the dark and hoping that you land a man. And he doesn't end up being too dominant or too passive for long-term happiness. So you need to think about those things, right? And that's one of the reasons why I say you got to set your standards and you got to let him know and you got to let him go. Because if you're trying to be with him while he's trying to level himself up and get himself together, that's just going to be a lot for the both of you. It's almost going to be like a ball and chain. You're going to be pushing him and fussing at him every moment, every decision he makes. He's going to be second guessing himself. It's better to just let him go off and like figure some things out and see if you guys can bring it back together later on down the line. You don't want to slow yourself down, and you definitely don't want to slow him down. Children, you should be clear about how many kids you want and know if your man and you are on the same page or your potential partner are on the same page. Education. When the man has as much or more education than the woman, it allows the woman to look up to and trust her man. Right? Again, this will cause men to step up. If you're in college, why are you dating a guy who didn't finish high school? Okay, that just doesn't even make sense, because you're not going to be able to respect him. It's just not, it's not going to happen. Not unless he goes out and figures some things out on his own and makes that $1 million, then you could be like, well, I can respect him because he went out and did something that on his own without education that I couldn't do unless I got, you know, my master's degree. So then there's still a level of respect there. You know what I'm saying? Political and ideological affiliations. You want to know what you're passionate about. So that's where the mindset thing comes in. I think, Samara, you were the one who was talking about that. So that's where mindset stuff comes in. Desired living location, employment status or type of jobs, and appearance. Major deal breakers only at this stage. right? So appearance, major deal breakers only at this stage. For example, you may say you'll love a man at any weight, but if you shudder at the thought of having sex with a 300-pound husband, then you should be vetting for someone with positive health body habits. Okay, so if you are a clean living spiritual person, vegan style, pay attention if you're dealing with a guy who's a big pork eater or loves his mama's fried chicken. This may not jive in the long run. Now, it could be, no one's perfect, but you shouldn't be going in looking to change the person, and you should be vetting on all of these areas. So again, I did put the link in there for you guys to check it out. I'm going to read a few more comments before we jump off of here. Lenora says, I don't want men with baby mama drama or child support or more than one baby mama. All of his money will be going out of our household. Exactly. And, if, you look at somebody like Eddie Murphy. Now, Eddie Murphy has so much money, and P. Diddy, they got so much money that they can have a bunch of kids. But still, you know what I'm saying? How do you feel about being at the end of that line when, they handing out money and then you all the way at the end? Something to think about, because most guys don't have the P. Diddy or the Eddie Murphy checks, So DJ, I respect her opinion, but this is not the key to at all, ladies. Truth, y'all better follow y'all on that advice. Unbelievable. Why is this not the truth, DJ? Are you married? What's your situation? Why are you saying this isn't the truth? What's not truthful about it? I'm open to hear what you have to say. So let me know. Freddie Smith, still learning, more to make right choices forever. Guys, I really think, you guys should get together and raise your standards too. You know what I'm saying? Raise your standards too. You shouldn't just be getting out here with anything whose butt is posted all over on Instagram. Men need to value themselves and their seeds too. They should not be willing to drop a seed in anything that's got her legs spread all the way open all over the internet. You should value yourselves more than just slipping and sliding in every chick that you run into. It's not a good look. And it's not a good look for the community, because what's happening is you're producing offspring with women that you care nothing about and don't respect and don't even like. And that's showing up in our children because you don't like the mama, she don't like you, y'all don't get along, and then you're looking at this kid and you want to love them, but you kind of can't because they remind you of the mom or they remind you of the dad. Guys, you have to raise your standards too. And it's not about how much a woman makes, it's about what type of woman. Is she a woman of value? What is she offering as her totality of a person? What type of person is she? What type of mother is she going to be? What type of partner, wife is she going to be? What is her long-term vision? Does she respect you? You know what I'm saying? Things like that. You guys need to go off into your own circle and you guys need to talk and figure out what it is your code of conduct is going to be when it comes to women. So some of these women can start to step up too, because there's going to be a core of us who are going to step up and we're going to raise our standards. But there's still going to be thoughts and stuff hanging around on the fringes, like, oh, yes, honey, them little sedity girls over there, we doing it over here too. Then that's up to you guys to start to say, no, this isn't acceptable. And stop thinking for the short term and start planning into the future of the community. Is it good for our community to let thought culture win the day? No. Let's see. DJ says, ooh, hope as dream. What? You guys are so funny. Tayani Chioke, I agree with most of what she's saying, but just not her approach. Okay, well, what approach do you have, my love? I'd love to hear your comments on it. DJ, oh, wow, hopes and dreams, unbelievable. Samara Love, that's what I'm saying. I'm just a lazy writer. DJ, exactly, horrible approach. What's the horrible approach, people? She needs to read The Power of Seduction. This is not 1849. This is not the gold rush. Tiani Chioke, also read The Miseducation of the Black Woman. Can somebody post a shovel emoji? We do need to have higher standards, says Tiani Chioke. She's leading with the wrong stuff. What am I leading with that's wrong? Hopefully you put it down here because I'd love to hear what you have to say. I love Fly Nubian Queen, but wow, ladies, your own wisdom on this one. Say it again. Ain't nobody saying lower standards. Your approach is off. Lord Jesus, please take the wheel. Please take the wheel. So what's the problem, DJ? What is the problem? Because I want to hear what you have to say, but what is the problem in what I'm saying? Because I just read through like a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm not the person who's instituting this. I'm bringing you guys information from other who have successfully dated and married men who are taking care of their families and providing a certain lifestyle for their women and their families. So if you guys don't like it, that's fine. You don't have to receive it. However, take a look at whatever the situations are in your life. Take a look at the situations around you, and let's take a look at situations that we have in our community. Could we use some change? Could we use some improvement? Could we set our standards higher and start to level up and start to look at hypergamy as a strategy to create, as the lady said earlier, generational wealth? Because we're losing a lot of wealth because the families are not intact. Okay, so Freddie Smith says business is work, work is warfare. Now the time to see what must be done. I respect the opinion, but you're wrong about half the stuff you're saying. But you haven't pointed out anything yet. So I'm going to keep scrolling and see if maybe you point something out, and then I can, know why or what particular things you think don't work. Now, Tiani Chioke, if I'm doing the same as you, why do I need you? Oh, maybe they're talking to each other. Maybe they're arguing. I don't know. DJ Tiani Chioke, no, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is a lot of women require things when they have nothing to show. Well, okay, what are they requiring? I'm kind of curious about that. What are they requiring? Because if they're requiring that you're able to take care of a family, that's only fair. If they're requiring that you demonstrate your ability, because I think you should test men. You should test them. You should see if they're able to help you out in a situation, like something comes up. See if they can help you. See if they're, first of all, willing to help you. Second of all, able to help you. Because they need to have both of those in place. They need to have the will to want to help you. Because I'm telling you, you get in a situation, you will find out quickly how much a man really cares about you. Because they can talk and say and hit it from this side and that side and tell you this and that. And girl, I know he loved me. And then a situation arises and he is nowhere to be found. And he might have the money. And that'll be even worse, because it's nothing worse than a man having it and not wanting to give it for whatever reason. It lets you know that he doesn't mess with you as hard as maybe you thought, or that he led on because he wanted to get some cookies. So that's part of the vetting process. Let's see what you guys are talking about. What are they supposed to have? You miss my position, such as so Tiani, my love, I think you are better than having an argument with a man who doesn't understand that you have standards. And that's something that we as women, I have been guilty of sometimes, talking to guys who, I know are a bit, not up to my standards, and kind of trying to explain to them like, look, you need to get it together. And what I realized, especially in that scenario I was telling you guys about, is that while I'm wasting time talking to this bum, trying to educate him, he already knows what he's supposed to be doing. He just doesn't even have it in himself to do it. And if he doesn't know that he needs to figure it out on his own, it's not my job to teach him. And waste time when the dude with all the assets is walking by, seeing me with this bum, and decides to keep going, blocking my own blessings, right? Same thing, Tiani. You don't want to spend time engaging with a man who you're not on the same page with. Don't try to convince him. Keep your standards high. Keep yourself leveled up. Let DJ, he will find a woman who meets whatever it is that he's looking for. There are a lot of women out here, DJ, who agree with you. A lot of women in our community will agree with you. So I think that it will be, I'm not sure if you're married already, you might have a woman sitting beside you who agrees with you. But try not to argue with guys about that type of stuff. It's not worth it. I've seen a lot of people arguing online on videos and stuff. it doesn't help us. It doesn't move us forward in our community. You know what I mean? DJ, I'm referring to the basics such as having your own place, have basic things such as career, also transportation. Now, how to be respectful, responsible, intelligent. I sent you, I put the link at the top to the article to Yanni Chiyoki. DJ, y'all are just arguing. Okay, let me see if I can scroll down if there's anything else. DJ, yeah, I see that, but are you really listening? Okay, I'm gonna keep going. Okay, you guys got into a serious argument here. That is not what I was trying to do. I want us to discuss, but, you know, let's try not to be emotional about it. You know, like, let's really, you know, understand and hear what are the guys saying. Do they have a point in any way? And then also let's point out to the guys that, hey, it's time that some of you guys step up for the community and stop expecting us, some of us, to come with 50-50. No. Okay, we need you guys to go ahead on and earn our respect and earn the respect of society and the rest of the world by doing whatever it is you need to do to get it together for your family and for the community. We will support you on that in a feminine way, but expecting us to take on the role of the provider for the family, to help you get on your feet and this, that, and the other, I think that's a bit much. And if we look at the past 20 to 30 years, how has it, look at the community. It's not working. It's not working. So I think we got to get back to some basics because we're losing respect for each other. We're losing respect for each other. The community is not where it could be. We can elevate it. So let's not get emotional and start arguing with each other. Let's look at where we can agree. And if we don't agree, let's agree to disagree. And the men who don't want to step up to the standards of the women who are raising and elevating their standards, that's okay. There's still going to be women out here who won't have high standards. And you guys can go be with them. But those of us who are going to raise our standards, there are going to be men. Many are called, but the chosen are few. Those few that are chosen are going to say, I want that one over there. And I can see that Sheen with every dude in the neighborhood. That one's going to be mine. Let me go get the bag. Let me go get the house. Let me go get the car. Let me do what I do. Those are the ones who are called the high achievers of society, the winners, the bosses, the CEOs, the owners, the billionaires, the multimillionaires. Even the ones who are, you know, the mid six figures, even the ones that are the low six figures, that when we're just talking about, you know, real life, regular people, the guys who own businesses, you know, that's what we're talking about. The guys who are striving beyond, the guys who went to prison and then came home and made something of themselves. Those are the type of men that we want to bring into the family structure in the community because they're going to help us build. And they're going to help us strategize and win this war that we're in against the system. Not the guys who are over here making excuses and expecting women to do 50-50 and why well she need to bring that the same thing I'm bringing to the table. That's not helping us. We can't respect men that we have to work just as hard as. And it doesn't help us as women. We wear ourselves out that way. That's why we're looking all hard and overweight and sick and mentally ill because we're working just as hard as men. Is that what we want to continue to do in our community? Is that what we want for our community? Men, I'm putting that question to you. Is that what you want? You want us to work as hard as we were working back in slavery? Is that what you want? You want to see your women out here working themselves to death, jobs, trying to raise your children? Is that what you want? Because that's what we have. And it's not productive. So you should want us to raise our standards. You should want us to be like, no, I'm not having your baby just for the heck of it, just because you're cute. No, you cannot sleep with me just because what else do you have going on besides being attractive? You know what I'm saying? You should want that for the community. Anyway, probably enough preaching. These are just my opinions. Again, I'm not saying that I'm right. I'm just saying that I have done some reading. I've definitely listened to a bunch of people online arguing and fussing about, the community, men and women going back and forth. I don't particularly think it's productive, but what I do think is that, if we as women can get together collectively and kind of, set some standards, and I talk about this quite a bit in different areas, not just dating, but raising our self-worth, raising our value, and understanding that we as Black women are valuable and we deserve the best that life has to offer. And we deserve the best from our men, whoever they are, if they're in the community, outside of the community, whatever. Whoever you decide to be with, whoever you decide to spend time with, needs to be at the highest level that you deserve. Do not settle, ladies. And guys, you shouldn't settle either. Don't just settle for that thought. They always say, I say that wrong, that word wrong, that hoe. Don't just settle for, that chick that you can easily sleep with. Raise your standards. Let yourself be challenged. Go after the girl who has standards and see if you can meet her standards or exceed her standards instead of trying to bring her down. Why would you want a woman who lowers her standards for you? Is that an accomplishment? If you find that to be an accomplishment, then you might want to think again. But again, that's up for you. That's up to you guys to get together and decide what you're going to do that's going to be productive for our community to move forward. Now, if you think it's productive for our community, for you guys to go out here sleeping with thoughts and procreating with them, women who don't value themselves to have your children, then I think we might be lost if a majority of our men are thinking that way. But for those of you who are smarter than that and value yourselves and value your offspring and care about future generations in our communities, this should be a good talk that we're having. And we should continue this talk outside of this live stream. What we want to do is we want to go back into our communities and we want to start to discuss this with each other. So please like, subscribe, and share. FlyMovingQueen.com. I thank you guys for joining me. I love it that you guys are here. Thank you so much for all your comments. Thank you. I know you guys got a little heated in there, but thank you so much for being here. And I appreciate you, and I love you so much. I hope you have a wonderful night. Thanks for joining Deena Jacobs Live every Sunday night, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. Bye-bye.